Okay, can we just take a second to look at the calendar and appreciate where we are right now?
Right.
It's January 21st, 2026. We're arguably still in the blast radius of Oppenheimer sweeping the Oscars.
Yeah, that still feels very recent.
And yet somehow the conversation has already shifted. We're staring down the barrel of July. And the buzz for Christopher Nolan's next film is, well, it's absolutely deafening.
It really feels like the entire industry is holding its breath, doesn't it?
It does.
You usually get this kind of anticipation for, a massive franchise finale like an Avengers movie or maybe Star Wars.
So
But for a standalone adaptation of a 3,000-year-old poem, that is a different beast entirely.
Exactly. We were talking, of course, about Odyssey, and the narrative forming around this movie is just fascinating to me. The word on the street is that this isn't just a follow-up.
No.
People are calling this Nolan's magnum opus.
Which is such a heavy label when you consider his filmography. I mean, the man made The Dark Knight. He made Inception.
Prestige.
But looking at the scope of this, it kind of makes sense. He's taking Homer's The Odyssey, which is essentially the blueprint for the entire Western adventure story, and he is stripping away all the whimsy.
He's putting it through that high-contrast, high-tension Nolan filter.
That's the perfect way to put it.
And that filter is exactly what we need to unpack today. Because we have Matt Damon as Odysseus, we have a budget that, quite literally burns money.
We'll get to that. It's wild.
And a tone that seems to be baffling some people. This does not look like the sword and sandal adventures we grew up with.
Not even close. If you're expecting a fun romp through the Greek islands, you are going to be in for a shock.
So our mission today is to cut through all the noise. We're going to look at the insane production details, the specific thematic choices that turn this into, like, a horror film.
It really is.
And the confirmed footage that sets the stage. We're sticking to the facts here. No rumors.
And honestly, the facts are stranger and more intense than any of the rumors in this case.
Let's start with the thing that has set the internet on fire this week. The prologue.
Yes.
This 6-minute sequence that's playing in select theaters right now.
Yeah.
It frames the entire narrative in a way I just did not expect.
It's a brilliant framing device. Instead of starting on Olympus or with a big battle, it starts with a conversation.
Right. You have John Bernthal as Menelaus, the Spartan king, talking to Telemachus, Odysseus' son, played by Tom Holland.
And just that casting alone tells you the level of performance they're aiming for. Bernthal brings that coiled intensity.
Oh, for sure.
And Holland is just so good at that earnest, searching quality.
But what are they saying? That's the key.
Right. Look at the line. Menelaus asks the boy if he's heard the story of the war from someone who actually lived it.
That one line. It changes everything.
It immediately tells you,
Yeah.
Forget the legends, forget the songs you learned in school. You are about to see the trauma of what really happened. It establishes the whole movie as a memory of war, not a glorification of it.
And then, the cut. We go to the Trojan horse. Now, in every cartoon I watched as a kid, the horse is this clever, triumphant trick. It's almost fun.
Mm.
But the way this is depicted, it sounds claustrophobic, terrifying.
It's treated as a tension device, pure and simple. We see the horse being dragged from the sea into Troy, and Nolan focuses on this engraving on the side. For their return home, the Greeks dedicate this offering to Athena.
Which is just brutal irony, considering what happens to their return home.
Oh, it's twisting the knife. They're asking for a safe trip back while planning a massacre.
But the interior shots are what sell the horror.
Completely. In the myths, the horse is often depicted as cavernous, full of soldiers, like a troop transport.
Yeah, plenty of room.
Here, Nolan packs the elite soldiers in like sardines. It's tight, it's sweaty, and it is completely silent.
That detail really stuck with me. They're just listening to the Trojans partying outside. No brave speeches.
Just waiting in the dark. Because in reality, that's what it would be. If one person coughs, they all die.
It shifts the genre from action to thriller immediately.
And when the attack finally happens, notice the lack of music. It's all visceral sounds, swords slicing through wood, gagging sentries so they can't scream.
It's described less like a battle.
And more like an assassination.
Yeah.
Because it is. It creates this image of Troy burning from the inside out. And thematically, this is the cornerstone of the whole movie. This is the sack of Troy.
So the cruelty of the victory is what curses the journey home.
Precisely. The journey back isn't just bad luck or angry gods being petty. It's a direct consequence of the brutality we see in those first 6 minutes. The universe, or the gods, is punishing them for how they won.
It's like the universe is saying, okay, you want to be ruthless. Let's see how you handle ruthlessness,
Exactly.
which is a perfect segue into the punishment itself. Let's talk about the monsters, or as the production seems to frame them, the nightmares.
This is where the genre shift really happens. We move from war film to survival horror.
Specifically with the Cyclops, Polyphemus. I think a lot of us were expecting, a tribute to Ray Harryhausen, maybe some stop-motion charm. But it sounds genuinely disturbing.
It's the scale and the lighting. You see Odysseus leading his men into this massive cave, and the lighting is very stark, just torches against absolute black.
Okay.
When Polyphemus emerges, he isn't a goofy monster. He's a bald, gigantic, predatory figure.
And he's the son of Poseidon, right? He's not just some random creature.
Yes, and he feels it. He feels elemental. Nolan isn't treating him as a puzzle to be solved. He's treating him as something you run from.
And the single eye. That can look so silly in live action.
It usually does, but here it's described as just menacing. It's unblinking. It focuses the threat.
We know they kept the classic nobody plot point.
They did, but it plays differently here. In the book, it's a clever trick that shows how smart Odysseus is.
Right.
In the film, it seems to be the moment of his downfall. Not the blinding itself, but what comes after.
When he reveals his real name.
Right. His ego takes over. He blinds the son of a god, escapes, and then he screams his name back at the island. That hubris is the catalyst. That is what wakes up Poseidon.
Before we get to the big bad, though, we have to talk about the underworld. This scene. I mean, the description alone gave me chills. A barren, misty patch of land where the dead just rise from the ground.
It's framed to be deeply unsettling. It's not a mystical, floaty afterlife. It's gritty. Odysseus goes there on the advice of Circe, who is played by Charlize Theron.
Perfect casting.
He's there to find the prophet Tiresias. But the atmosphere is pure horror. It's a psychological landscape as much as a physical one.
But there's a specific controversy that the history nerds are debating online. It's about the kneeling.
Ah, yes. The scene where Odysseus kneels before Agamemnon.
Who's played by Benny Safdie, right?
Right.
And people are saying this is historically wrong.
Well, it's complicated. In the Iliad and, in historical context, a king like Odysseus wouldn't typically kneel to a commander in that way. They were peers, essentially.
Okay. And Agamemnon's already dead by this point in the poem.
Technically, yes. But the kneeling, that's Nolan emphasizing the weight of the character's grief.
So it's symbolic.
Entirely. Odysseus is surrounded by the ghosts of the men he led. Kneeling is an act of submission to that grief. It highlights the survivor's guilt that pervades the whole film.
So it's less about ancient Greek protocol and more about the psychological state of the character.
He's bowing under the weight of the dead. He's broken. And he's about to be broken even further.
Which brings us to the executioner, Poseidon.
The antagonist. And it is so important to view him as an antagonist, not just like a force of nature.
There was that fascinating bit of casting trivia about this role. Robert Downey Jr. was the first choice.
He was. Nolan wanted to reunite after Oppenheimer. They obviously have great chemistry, but RDJ had scheduling conflicts with Avengers, Doomsday.
Which is a shame, but honestly, the way Poseidon is described, I'm not sure we'd even recognize the actor.
No, it's not a guy in a toga with a trident, is it?
Not at all.
In this film, Poseidon is the sea itself. After Odysseus blinds the Cyclops and screams his name, Poseidon decides to break him. But here's the key. The punishment isn't death.
Because if a god wants you dead, you're dead. That's easy.
Exactly. Poseidon wants a long and agonizing lesson. The sea is treated as a suffocating, inescapable force. The storms scatter the ships, kill the crews slowly.
The water itself feels like it wants them erased.
That's it. And there was a phrase in one of the early reviews of the footage, survival feels accidental.
That's the horror element again. In a superhero movie, survival is a result of skill.
Right, you fight your way out. Here, it's just luck, and bad luck at that. The exhaustion, the dead rising, the storms that never end. It's incredibly bleak for a summer blockbuster.
It's not just physical torture, though. It's psychological. We touched on Circe earlier, but there's also Calypso. The film frames these encounters as a different kind of prison.
Yes. When we say Odysseus is imprisoned, we aren't talking about bars or chains. It's a captivity of power, comfort, and temptation.
He stays with Circe for a year. 7 years with Calypso. That's a long time to be trapped without a cage.
It's a psychological captivity. I mean, Charlize Theron, as Circe, is perfect for that. She brings this blend of charisma and danger. It's a trap that plays on his weariness. After all the horror, the temptation to just stop. Must be overwhelming.
And while we're on the look and feel, we have to address the accuracy debate.
The accuracy police.
They are out in full force. The armor looks bulky. The soldiers are wearing pants. The colors are all muted. People are shouting, "This isn't what ancient Greece looked like." Are they right?
Well, strictly speaking, yes, probably. But they're completely missing the point.
Which is?
Nolan isn't making a history documentary. He is making a fantasy epic, think Clash of the Titans, but grounded in his specific brand of grit and realism.
So the inaccuracies are a deliberate choice.
Absolutely. Why does the armor look heavy? Because power feels heavy. Why are the colors subdued? Because the world is harsh and unforgiving. It's a stylistic choice to convey the mood of the ancient world, not the museum reality of it.
And frankly, if I'm fighting a giant Cyclops, I probably want the bulky armor.
And the pants. You definitely want pants when you're fighting a kraken.
Exactly. And on the flip side of all this darkness, we have Zendaya as Athena.
Right. She represents the only lifeline he has. It creates this great dynamic of gods playing chess with human lives. Athena trying to guide him, Poseidon trying to crush him.
Okay, so we have the story, the horror, and the aesthetic. But we need to talk about the sheer scale of this thing.
That numbers are just staggering.
The reported budget is nearly $250 million.
Whoa.
That is putting it right up there with The Dark Knight Rises. That is top-tier blockbuster money.
It is. And remember, Oppenheimer cost around $100 million.
Right.
So Nolan didn't take a break after winning his Oscars. He essentially doubled down. He cashed in all that political capital from the Academy and the box office to make this a massive, risky epic.
And where did that $250 million go? A lot of it went into the camera.
This is the detail that film nerds are going to lose their minds over. It's the first feature film ever shot entirely on IMAX 70mm film cameras.
Wait, entirely? Even the dialogue scenes?
Everything. Usually directors switch to standard 35mm or digital for the quiet scenes because IMAX cameras are loud, like a lawnmower running next to the actors. And the film is incredibly expensive.
But Nolan didn't.
He didn't. They shot for 91 days across Morocco, Greece, Italy, Iceland, and Scotland.
And the amount of film stock. I saw a number that just didn't seem real. 2 million feet.
2 million feet of film. If you break that down, just the raw stock at roughly $1.50 per foot means they burned through $3 million just on the plastic running through the can.
That is wild. Before developing, before scanning, anything.
That's just the material.
Yeah.
But it's because Nolan wants that texture. He wants the grain. Which brings us to the ship.
The boat, this is my favorite production fact.
It's incredible.
They didn't build a set on a soundstage with a green screen.
No, they got the Dragon Herald Fairhair. It's the largest modern Viking sailing ship ever constructed.
A real functioning ship.
Real wood, real wind, real weight. It anchors the fantasy in reality. When you see Matt Damon struggling against the rigging in a storm, he isn't acting. He's actually sailing a massive wooden vessel on the open ocean.
It goes back to that tactile feel. You can sense the difference between an actor pretending to pull a rope and an actor actually fighting a sail.
You can't fake that physics. And I think that's why Nolan resonates so much. He grounds these huge concepts in dirt and wood and water. When the characters look cold, they are cold.
So we've got a massive budget, a terrifying journey, a production that spanned half the globe. But how does it end? The teaser gives us a pretty specific image.
And it confirms this isn't a happy ending in the traditional sense.
We see Odysseus, alone, battered, clinging to shipwreckage while the sea just closes around him.
It's a devastating shot. It interprets the ending not as a triumph, but as survival by inches.
He is the sole survivor.
He is, and that's the tragedy. He returns home, yes, but he returns carrying the guilt of losing everyone else.
Everyone from Troy. They're all gone.
Every last one.
It transforms the hero's journey into a story of consequence.
Exactly. It's about the cost of war and the terror of the return. He wins, but the prize is just his life. Nothing else. He doesn't bring back gold or glory. He brings back trauma.
It's heavy. For a summer release, that is really heavy.
That is the big gamble, isn't it?
We are so used to superhero movies where the good guys win, the bad guys lose, and everyone goes out for shawarma. But this is a summer blockbuster that treats a victory lap as a nightmare.
It really challenges the viewer, and that's the question I'm left with.
What's that?
Are we, as a modern audience, ready for a hero who wins nothing but his own breath?
Yeah.
Are we ready to see the psychological toll of being a legend?
I think we are. Or at least, I really hope we are. Because if anyone can pull off a $250 million tragedy, it's Christopher Nolan.
I could not agree more. It's going to be a fascinating watch.
Well, July 2026 can't come soon enough.
Yeah.
We will be there opening night, probably clutching our seats in terror.
And definitely avoiding boats for a while afterwards.
Absolutely no boats. Thanks for diving in with us, everyone.
Until next time.